NC Pork. Good for the plate. Great for the state.
Our next guest was a two-time All-American quarterback for Stanford University. He's already a member of the College Football Hall of Fame, and we watched him as a four-time Pro Bowl quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts in the NFL before his retirement at the age of 29 years old. We now get to introduce him as the Stanford Football General Manager. Andrew Luck, welcome to the North Carolina Sports Network. How are you?
I am doing well. It's nice to be here in Charlotte. I forgot what humidity feels like. Yeah. I'll be honest, I'm a Houston boy, so it brings me back to my childhood. It's great to be here. Great to represent Stanford University. Great to be here with our players, with Coach Wright. And it's exciting. I mean, training camp's on the doorstep. And that's what's exciting about this game.
We are not used to, before we get to your new job description, the elite athlete retiring at 29 years old. So you have to give us an update. Your new world includes getting married to Nicole, I know it was years ago, becoming a dad for the first time, and then you got to just give us a health update because that was at least one puzzle piece when you retired, when you did.
I feel good enough to go surf and ski and fly fish and hike and get outside, and I'm incredibly thankful. Like I pinch myself. I've had two dream jobs in my life. I got to play quarterback in the NFL, which is all I ever wanted to do as a kid. It doesn't work out like you want it to, not all the time. Right? Not all the time, but that's life, and I'm thankful for, I consider myself a Colt at heart, incredibly grateful, thankful for the time my wife and I spent there, and now I'm in this job, which is like a dream job as well, running the football program that I love most.
There is video of you, to be clear. Andrew is in sweats, and no defender is chasing him. But there's video of him taking snaps and throwing the football for the Cardinals. You can jokingly give us an update on how fun that is, and does that get that out of your system? But more generally, of course, we do want to know, general manager as a title is relatively new to college sports. So help us understand the difference between, say, a pro GM and what you're now doing for your alma mater.
Well, I'll address the clips that made it on the internet of me in practice. I was handing the football off at inside run because we were low on quarterbacks, and practice got to run. And part of my job as GM was making sure we are set up for guys to get better at practice. And look, if I need to go it, I won't go under center anymore. I'll stay at the pistol. Guys stay away from me. Please stay away. Let me hand the ball off. But I know it's fun to say cadence to have that ball off. And GM, college football. Look, I think the job description is, there's a spectrum of it. And some GMs are really focused on the recruiting and personnel side of things, and that's the core competency. Some, like me, are running the program. That includes fundraising and having the head coach report to you and the whole shebang. And our structure works for us. And I'm excited about it, and it certainly resembles a pro structure, more often than not, in which you have a GM or a team president or some version of that, sitting on top of the football organization. And I think another major difference between the major differences, I think, between the NFL and college. One, we're still figuring out our rules, frankly. Yeah. And that's been interesting. But look, fundraising is a massive part of my job. Recruiting, right? You don't spend time recruiting as much in the NFL. So, and that's the lifeblood of the football program, right? The people, the coaching staff, the players in the locker room. And so I'm learning a lot. I'm having a great time. I'm thankful to be able to call up friends that are, John Lynch, Chris Ballard, these incredible NFL GMs, have certainly been resources, and there's learning on the job, and that's what's exciting. Learning, it's life affirming.
When you were a young man, part of your unique background is born in D.C., lived for a while in England, lived for a while in Germany, high school superstar in Texas, but through your eyes way back when, you went to Palo Alto, California, not right around the corner, and that was a huge decision. What would you describe as similarities or differences between your pitch as a program now, hey, come to Nerd Nation, as you sometimes call it, compared to whatever you found compelling about your decision many years ago when Jim Harbaugh was the head coach back then?
That question, a version of that question, has certainly been on my mind, especially as we're recruiting. Look, Coach Harbaugh had a profound influence on me. And I went to Stanford for a few reasons. One, the quality of the academic institution. It's one of the best. I think it's the best university in the world, right? And gets the most amazing people from around the world to come, which is the second reason. I walked into the locker room and I wanted to be in the locker room with these men. They were high achievers. They loved football. They wanted to turn something around, right? Coach Harbaugh was hired at that time to turn something around. But I wanted to be in the locker room with those guys from all over the country. All over the country, from the East Coast down south, Florida, Texas, where I grew up, California, and some internationals. And I thought that was really intriguing. And then 3, I believed we were going to win. I believed we were going to win, and I wanted to go to a program that built something. And so Coach Harbaugh profoundly, affected me in my job now, with him in charge of the program at the time. You knew he was going to win. He had a plan. I have a plan. I know we're going to win. We're everywhere. We are all over this country. I mean, Stanford forever has to look everywhere for football players and student athletes. We're very proud of our academic integrity and our rigor. And I think of great players from the state of Carolina. Bryce Love, comes to mind first of an absolute transcendent star. That was a little after my time, but gosh, we're everywhere for them. We go everywhere for young men. We I think have an incredibly unique product on the market, if you want to look at it through that lens. And it's fun to be serious about football. It's fun to be serious about football.
I'm glad you have an easygoing, down-to-earth personality, because this next question is kind of goofy. There is a social media handle called Captain Andrew Luck, as you know. I mean, 500,000 followers on Twitter/X. Are you able to be clear, it's a parody account, it's not Andrew's. Are you able to enjoy it like the rest of us, or is it different when your name is actually attached to it? It is really freaking funny, that whole military-style delivery.
I don't have the social media, but I do get screenshots of it sent to me every now and then. And earlier on in my career, when it started, I sort of ignored it, avoided it. But then I started to read it, and I thought it was funny.
Good.
And I think it's funny, and I think the internet can just be a cesspool of bad more often than not. And that a proper parody account that stays clean, that's humor can be digested by most people. Good on you, whoever's doing it. So keep up the good work.
Amen. It makes what can be a hellscape at times a little bit more entertaining. Why was Frank Reich, the guy we know in this part of the country for obvious reasons, why was he the right fit in your eyes for this unusual situation where Coach Taylor is gone, you don't have a full-time head football coach yet, but obviously he's a very experienced man, and it's kind of an ACC legend, actually, because of his playing days at Maryland way back in the day.
Coach Reich's incredible. I had him for 1 year in the NFL. I ended up retiring. He was the head coach, and our relationship only deepened. And I think, if we did not have a strong and deep relationship built on trust, mutual respect, I'm not calling him and asking for this and thinking there's a chance, right? That he comes out and he is the full-time head coach. It's just for a year, right? And this is sort of how I'm looking at it, because there is no stepping backwards. There is, as I explained to our players on the team when they asked me what the plan was, I said, well, I know one thing. This isn't the NBA. You don't tank for the first pick in the draft, right? Yeah. I owe these seniors in the locker room, especially. I owe this program. I knew we had to take steps forward, and so when Frank and I started talking, and I felt at least an inkling of possibility, and I called him. He was shopping for strawberries in Greensboro, North Carolina at a Costco, right, in this great state. But if this is a fly out and see, I put the recruiting hat on like we would with a player, and I'm so grateful he's here. I'm grateful for the Wright family, for Linda, and having this happen, because he is pouring his heart and soul into this program. Our young men feel it. We are taking steps forward. The proof is in the pudding always, right? In football, and that's the thing of sports. You get the feedback loop, wins and losses. But I can tell you, we're taking incredible strides. He's an incredible coach. I'm grateful for him. He's certainly part of the Stanford football family forever. And I know this will be part of his legacy. What he does this year at Stanford, what he's already done. And I get fired up because Stanford football's had this incredible history of coaches. You go all the way back to Pop Warner, John Ralston, Bill Walsh, Denny Green, Ty Willingham, Jim Harbaugh, David Shaw, right? There are unbelievable coaching. There's an unbelievable coaching tree at Stanford, and it's really neat for me to have a friend like Frank Reich to be the 36th head coach of Stanford University.
If I'm a Stanford football player and I see you, I'm not going to doubt whether you care about the next practice, the next game, etc. But there is this unusual dichotomy where part of your job during those same months is looking for the next guy.
Yeah.
How would you describe in general terms what qualities would be important to you in that role?
Well, I maybe flip the dichotomy a little bit. Is our guys on the team expect competition? They expect me to go keep finding quality players and also quality young men that fit our locker room. I mean, I take that very seriously. Like our locker room, 105 guys, it had, or 109 guys, whatever it is today. It had, that locker room culture had such a profound effect on me and who I, coming in as an 18-year-old boy, right? And I'm not kidding myself.
Yeah.
I was a boy, right? And growing into a young man, profound effect. So I take that role seriously. Well, look, we're looking for quality young men, that are academic stars, that are football stars, that want to be great teammates, that want to grow, that want to learn, and want to be challenged. There's nothing easy about this game. There's nothing easy about going to a great school, handling business on both ends, and being an upstanding community member, socially strong, all those positive things. And so we got to make sure we go find those guys and provide competitions. We all want to get better, and competition is one way to do it.
Last thing for Andrew Luck, he's Stanford football's general manager. It feels weird to say this because I don't consider myself old, but I've been covering college sports for about as long as you've been alive. Okay? We've had so much change in the last handful of years that I wonder how you describe Stanford's chance for success moving forward, because we have 20.5 million and growing in the internal revenue share. We have name, image, likeness the last 4 years, and now it's governed in a slightly different way. But I've also read that Stanford's one of the only schools that has so many scholarships endowed, and so many sports that should give you theoretically a financial leg up. What's the most accurate way to describe how you guys, who in the all sports competition, you're always at or near the top? How do you stay at or near the top while winning in football and basketball too?
Well, yeah, and you have to be competitive in football and basketball to be at the top in this era of college sports. So there's no bones about it. But look, our president of the university, President Levin, to be in charge and a mission to go get competitive with football and resource the thing as needed to be competitive. And that's a big part of my job. I know our university attracts incredible people, the best and brightest, no different on the football team, and the right people, a positive system around that, results will happen.
Andrew Luck, thanks for joining us on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Appreciate y'all having me.